Just give a little background of myself. She talked a little bit about it. How I ended up here, I serve on a national board with Darren Atterbury, and been 6 years with him for accreditation that we serve on that board. And he kept saying, hey, you need to come to Fort Collins. I'm like, I'm happy in Rockford. I was born there. My parents were born there. Their parents were born there. And he called me in August, said, hey, Chief DeMint's retiring. Just come out and take a walk through the town and, meet me and a couple other people. So it was COVID. My wife and I hadn't been anywhere in almost a year. She's like, what do we have to lose? So we came out here, met him, met Wade Troxwell, Chief DeMint, a couple other council members, and the town very impressed. I knew about the organization through accreditation because they are accredited, and knew Chief DeMint. Applied, and as Karen said, I have three children. One's 24, one's 19 and 18. And I said I'm not applying unless everybody decides to come with, because I'm very strong with my family. We rely on each other, and especially with COVID. My oldest daughter was home with us the whole year. And my dad, he lived 4 blocks from me. I saw him every day. And everybody agreed and applied, and here I am. And then I'm here, and 2 months later, Darren calls me in his office, said, hey, thanks for coming, but I'm leaving. So I don't know if it was me or what that was. So, but that's how I ended up here. And I will say, just the first couple months working with this organization, very high performing, excellent organization. The department I came from, we were the second largest department in the state of Illinois next to Chicago. Very urban setting, busy. We had a lot of socioeconomic challenges, a lot of poverty. You talk about the school district here with homelessness, a lot of those things that we were really working as an entire city trying to improve. And a lot of that collaboration that we had in Rockford is really what drew me to Fort Collins. Poudre Fire Authority, this year, they're celebrating their 40th anniversary as becoming a Poudre Fire Authority. Before that, you had the Fort Collins Fire Department, and then you had a Poudre Fire District. They merged 40 years ago under Chief Mulligan, created an agreement with the city of Fort Collins that we would provide fire and all the hazard response to the city of Fort Collins. And since then, it's been working very well. Poudre Fire Authority, we provide wildland fire, swift water, high angle rescue. I will say initially when I got here, it was in May, and we had a lot of the high water rescues. That was truly amazing to me to see what the men and women of this Poudre Fire Authority do. Very technical rescues in the swift water. We were up in the canyon several times, even down in the city of Fort Collins. But yeah, it was very impressive for me to see how many. We had roughly 30 water rescues this past spring, and a lot had to do with there's plenty of job security when you have kids that get inner tubes at Walmart and go in water that's flowing very fast, and they don't really understand the risks of it. But due to the training and the high competency of the men and women of Poudre Fire Authority, they did an incredible job. One thing that we did not have in Rockford was mountains. Went to my first mountain rescue, I think it was in June 15th, went up in the canyon. A gentleman was celebrating his 21st birthday. They were from CSU. They climbed up like 250 feet scaling rocks, and he fell 50 feet laying on a ledge, had broken limbs. And we got there, and I was talking with the incident commander, and he's like, yeah, we'll be able to get this person down. I said, well, how long do you think it'll take? He said, it'll be about 7 or 8 hours. And I was like, 7 or 8 hours? I said, I burned down 4 city blocks in less time than that. And it did. It took 8 hours. They had to take all their equipment across the river, hike up the mountain, do the rigging, rig the person, lower him down, and then bring all that equipment back. And just to see that, to be out there the entire time was truly amazing. And the work that we do in this area, covering almost 270 square miles, is there's a lot of hazards that go on there. And I will say, especially now, and I don't know if you saw the news, that we are a member of the USAR team for the Colorado Task Force. So we responded to the hurricane down in Louisiana. We sent 10 members from Poudre Fire Authority to respond down there for swift water rescue. We have roughly about 32 members on the team, and we make up almost a third of the team for the entire state of Colorado because of the high level of training that our members have for swift water rescue and technical rescue. Karen also asked me about wildland firefighting. That was one thing we did not have in Rockford, I can tell you that. Our biggest wildland fire, someone threw a cigarette at a mulch bed in Target, so that was about it there. When I got out here, I knew ahead of time, so I took a couple classes, but it's definitely a different challenge. And every 2 weeks for the past 2 months, we've been sending teams to California to assist with their wildland firefighting, and just see some of the pictures and talk with the crews that come back from that. It's it's very hard to comprehend the scope and the magnitude of that. The other that we did, I'm sure everyone saw the mudslide that we went up in the canyon, responded to that night, and if I had not seen it, I would not have believed it rained that quick to take out 5 homes, and for those people to lose their lives. Just the homes were just like toothpicks at the end of the hill, and just could not believe it. And there's definitely some unique hazards around here, but it's exciting for me. I always enjoy learning. I love learning more. I love working with people, and I think that's some of the exciting things here. And you know, as the speaker said, my son just had surgery at UC Health, and the staff there was incredible. And talk about fatigue, and you know, just talk with some of their staff and how many they have in the ICU that are COVID positive, and just some of the frustrations that they have. They continue to do an incredible job, and the partnership that I had in my previous department with our hospitals, I'm looking forward to building that here. Met with some of the leadership team from UC Health this morning. Ryan McLean, I don't know if you've met with him, met with Kevin Unger last week. And you have an incredible health system here, and we're very happy to be partners. UC Health provides the ambulance transport for the city of Fort Collins and the Poudre Fire Authority. We have a contract with them. And we work every day on the training to improve that high level of outcomes. Poudre Fire Authority has one of the highest survival rates for sudden cardiac arrest event because of the training that goes on with our members, UC Health. And one thing that we really try to engage is the community. The one thing that we can't control, or the hospital, no matter how good our personnel are, if someone has a sudden cardiac arrest event, that someone starts CPR. We rely on the citizens to help us with that survival rate. And one thing we really try to educate and put out to the community, you don't have to do mouth to mouth. We just want you to do high quality chest compressions. I made sure I taught my wife just in case. So you never know, better be prepared. So, but that's one thing, especially coming up in October, we're really going to partner with UC Health and Poudre Fire Authority as education on sudden cardiac arrest and what you can do to be able to learn to do chest compressions, so we can get the community engaged in that and really put that word out. I don't know, has anyone ever heard of Pulse Point? We got a couple head nods. So that's an organization that Poudre Fire Authority belongs to. It's an app that you put on your phone. Once you become CPR trained, and again, you just have to know how to do chest compressions. You don't have to do mouth to mouth. If you sign up for the app and say that you would respond, if you're out in the community in a public area and someone has a sudden cardiac arrest event and you're within a quarter mile, you will get an alert that someone needs CPR, and it'll also show you where the closest AED is. So being part of the community and, you know, giving back is something that you can do, is downloading that app. And if you're not CPR trained, you can contact us at Poudre Fire Authority or UC Health, and they would get you CPR trained, that you could respond. And that's that one piece that we don't have control over, is that if we have a community member that steps up and responds, they make the difference between life and death of that person. And that's one thing we're really focused on, is continue to strive to improve that survival rate for the entire region here in Fort Collins. So that's one thing excited about there also. So I've been more than happy to answer any questions. I don't want to continue talking, and if someone has some questions that they'd like me to answer. And again, I'd like to say thank you for inviting me out here today. I really enjoy being engaged in the community. One thing I miss from home is, like, you go to the grocery store, you see your friends and family, and working on building those. And like I tell my kids, every stranger is a friend you haven't met yet. So I enjoy, you know, seeing all the friendly faces here today, being in front of your group, and excited about being here in the community and serving every citizen that we protect. I will say one thing, we are going to have a strategic planning session in February. So if you see some information comes out, we are looking for external stakeholders, which are citizens, to give input of our services and guidance for us for the future of our organization. One thing that we're really challenged with, and I'm sure that you know, is the growth of this area and how much and how fast it's growing, that we make sure we're able to respond to those challenges of the growing populations. One thing I will say I do not like about this area is the traffic. I have not got that down yet. I had a meeting this morning. I had to go 9 miles, took me 30 minutes, and that I still can't figure that out. You know, coming from Timnath going down Harmony, that's just a nightmare. So I haven't found a way around that area yet, but I'm working on it. So
you just blame it on the train. That's a universal excuse.
I haven't been caught by a train yet, though. That's the thing. If I got by a train, that would explain it, but. Pulse Point, yes. PULSEPOINT.
I heard at one point, Poudre Fire was going to take over the town of Wellington. Is that something in the talks, or I know they have their own fire protection volunteers, I believe?
They have 5 people on duty, but since I've been here, there have not been any discussion about that.
You guys provide training for the AEDs as well? I know you said at Pulse Point, let you know where the nearest one is, but.
Yes.
How to use that.
No, we do, and I will say most AEDs, even if you've never seen one before, the directions are very simple and it talks you through it. And we also, our 911 center is also trained to guide you through the AED and CPR. Even if you're there and you witness someone, say, well, I don't know CPR, they can actually talk you through it. So that's an excellent question, though.
You mentioned the growth in the area. Does the authority have plans for new stations or expansion anywhere?
Yeah, so right now, we're working on our budget process right now. We're looking at add an extra company to cover a lot of our call volume. And then I just met with the city of Timnath as far as what location we'd be looking at north of Timnath to have another station to cover that area and then cover the northeast side of Fort Collins. So yeah, it takes us probably 3 to 4 years. Like if we say we're going to put a station in, to actually, do the land acquisition, the planning, build, and then hire the people. It's taken us about 2 years just to hire an extra 15 people because of attrition and how competitive the market is in this northern Colorado region to get personnel hired, so we can be prepared to open that additional station when that time comes.
So Chief, I had a couple questions. One is, do you use volunteers to help train folks in CPR? My husband used to be a CPR instructor for Red Cross and they eliminated that program. So would be interested to see if there's any volunteer opportunities there. I know that's something he's passionate about. But also wondered, are you having the same struggles or challenges with hiring that many other industries, including the healthcare industry?
Sure. Your first question, we would definitely take volunteers. So especially someone who's really passionate about it, and I can get you my information afterwards. But as far as our challenge is competing with other fire departments across the Front Range. We have a list. You usually get about 100 on that list, and by the time we get to hire, almost like 30 to 40 have left, because the 2 big areas that I'm just learning are South Metro and West Metro are growing exponentially, and they're adding like 1 to 2 stations like every year, which takes so many bodies. So that's what we're not having people leave once they're hired, and I think this is common throughout the United States with the fire service career, that it's something that they want to do and they're happy to be there. So we don't have people leave in the middle of their career. They make it all the way through retirement. So that hasn't been one of our challenges. But if you do know anybody who's interested in the career, we're going to be testing in January. And like I said, I was started onto this by my father, who was a volunteer, and I went to trainings and got to go on calls, and I was hooked from day one. And once I got hired on the career department, I knew this is where I was going to spend the rest of my life, and very rewarding. And I truly enjoy it. And, it's all about serving the community. And that's something that really motivates me and gets me excited. So.
Any other questions?
Chief, I've got a question for you. Years ago, I was a volunteer at the Timnath Station, which was just a little building on Main Street there. Station 8, did they replace that?
They did. So there's actually a very nice Station 8 that's built on Signal Tree Road, I believe, by the roundabout by Timnath City Hall. So yeah, that's a gorgeous building that was built about 3 years ago, I believe. That is a very small station there. I've driven by that. So, and we do one other that's unique about Poudre Fire Authority is we have 2 stations that are staffed with volunteers. So we have a station up at Horsetooth Reservoir that's open during the boating season, the high traffic for recreation. And then we also have Station 13 that's probably almost an hour from here, that's really to deal with, there's a really small amount of homes up there up in the mountains, and they protect that. They do the wildland firefighting and EMS up in the mountains that we rely on those volunteers.
Anything else? Thank you very much, Chief.
No, thank you very much.